Good evening. Welcome to the City of West Covina regular meeting for the Traffic Committee. Tonight's date is January 21st, 2026, and the time is approximately 6:03 p.m. Could I have a volunteer, one of the commissioners, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is roll call. Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Present.
Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Present.
And Mike Kusap, Public Works Superintendent.
Present.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the December 17th, 2025 meeting. The minutes are in your binders. If you have any questions or comments, we can address them now. If not, then I'll be looking for a motion and a second to approve.
No questions? No questions. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All right. Do a quick roll call. Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Approve.
Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Approve.
And Mike Kusap, Public Works Superintendent.
Approve.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is new business. Our first item is a traffic review of 712 South Fernwood Street. The city has received a traffic request to review parking near the Fernwood Garden Apartments located at 712 South Fernwood Street. It was reported that the residents living in the apartment complex are unable to park on the street outside the apartment complex due to the existing parking restrictions. Along this segment of Fernwood Street, parking is prohibited between 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. during weekdays. Along Mobeck Street, there is permit parking only on the south side of the street for residents living in the single-family homes. Currently, some parking is available on the north side of Mobeck Street for the apartment residents. The property manager of Fernwood Garden Streets is requesting the current parking restriction to be removed along the east side of Fernwood Street, north of the intersection with Mobeck Street. After a thorough review of existing field and traffic conditions and per the guidelines in the California Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, California Vehicle Code, West Covina City Guidelines, and based on engineering judgment, a list of options will be presented to the Traffic Committee for review and direction. It's recommended that the Transportation Committee review the report with the city traffic engineer, listen to public comment, and provide direction. And just for transparency, the fiscal impact is estimated at $7,000 for the recommendations we're about to hear. And for the record, I'll just note that Art Cervantes, our Community Development Deputy Director, is present.
Thank you.
So at this time, we'll have a presentation by Brian Cervantes with TransTech Engineers.
Thank you, Michael. So the existing conditions along this location, both roads are local roads per the Caltrans road classification system map. Both roads have a 25 mile per hour speed limit, a prima facie speed limit. Both roads are also 40 feet in width. South Fernwood and Mobeck Street have one lane in each direction, which is approximately 20 feet wide. There is currently red curb located along the segment on the west side of South Fernwood Street, north of East Cameron Avenue, as well as white curb on the west side of South Fernwood Street, adjacent to the school. And adjacent to this section is West Covina High School on the west side of the segment, as well as the intersection of Mobeck and South Fernwood. The school start time is at 8:30 a.m. and school release is at 3:26 p.m. in the afternoon. As part of this review, we looked at collision histories from the statewide Integrated Traffic Record System, or SWITRS, over approximately a 3-year period. From this review, it was found that there was 3 collisions reported along the segment during that time. And additionally, as part of this review, a field visit was conducted on multiple occasions to observe traffic circulation during both drop-off and pickup times. And site photos were taken on Tuesday, August 26th of 2025 during both the drop-off and pickup times for the school. So now, as you can see on within the report, as well as shown on the screen, We did review the morning traffic and parking patterns along the school. So we showed here, essentially what you're seeing is during morning drop-off, you'll see a lot of vehicles traveling along Fernwood. They'll go north to the cul-de-sac, make a U-turn at the end of the cul-de-sac, and then go down, enter into the school parking lot, and then leave along South Fernwood. There's also vehicles that, in order to access the school during drop-off, you utilize Mobeck and Charlinda Street. However, a majority of the flow is going to be along Fernwood. Similar to this, we looked at the afternoon drop-off and pickup. It's very similar. The key difference you're going to see here is that the driveway on the north side of the school campus, the northeast corner, is closed in the afternoons. We spoke to the school district, and that is part of their circulation design. So in the afternoon, we did observe more vehicles kind of parking along the street and just being along Fernwood due to not being able to pull into the school to pick up. So now, based on engineering judgment and warrants found in the CAM-UTC, or California Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, as well as the California Vehicle Code, or CVC, the recommendations for South Fernwood Street, north of East Mobeck Street, are to remove and replace the faded no parking, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on school days parking sign with a new no parking, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on school day sign along both sides of South Fernwood Street. So this is limiting the restriction to just around when school is going to be dropped off and picked up rather than all day. Additionally, it's recommended to install 20 feet of red curb on the north side of Mobeck Street at the northeast corner of the intersection with South Fernwood Street. Additionally, to install 20 feet of red curb on the east side of South Fernwood Street at the northeast corner of the intersection with Mobeck Street. The fourth recommendation is to remove signage and post for no parking 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on school days along Mobeck Street, or to remove that sign that's currently existing there to allow additional parking along the north side of the street adjacent to the apartment complex. And the fifth recommendation is to trim the vegetation along the north side of Mobeck Street between Fernwood and Azusa, kind of south of the single-family homes shown on the screen.
Before we our committee member comments and questions, we do have a speaker slip tonight. So I'd like to ask Kevin Hollingsworth if he'd come to the podium.
Oh, can we both speak together?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, my name is Kevin Hollingsworth. I am the off-site property manager for the property. I'm the one that initiated, the request. This is Cecilia. She is the resident manager. So I've been managing the property about almost a year. And the first time I arrived, I saw the sign. It's like, what? No parking? It's like, why? I was just shocked. I don't see a reason for it. And then, as you said in the report, there's only been 3 collisions, and I imagine they were quite minor. Do you know? Probably somebody maybe pulled out, maybe somebody hit something. So I'm wondering what was the impetus to implement this plan in the first place? 3 little minor collisions over 3 years didn't seem like enough to implement it. So does anybody know why this was implemented? Because it didn't used to be that way years ago.
I'm personally not knowledgeable of that.
Yeah.
Don't have the history.
Coincidentally, I graduated from middle high school in 1973, and I remember those apartments being there. There was everybody parked there. So I have experience. I used to park in that back parking lot when I was a teenager. Anyway, by the way, I have to say the staff of West Covina and TransTech have been fantastic. We love working with them. So, and I'm thrilled to death that the recommendation that you have, although I think it's not enough, I think there should be no parking restriction. At least see how it goes. Because I've got 30 apartments there. Everybody there has at least 2 cars. I've got 42 parking spaces in the apartments. And it's been quite a hardship because, as you can see, the no parking is from here to here. And my residents, look at these cars. They park almost down to Azusa Avenue. So it's been quite a hardship for my tenants. And I would think that, I don't think we need the restriction. I'm not a traffic engineer, not even close, but that's my opinion.
Okay, if I may, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Cecilia Leonard. We all did meet with staff on site December the 16th. And at the time that we met, it's not clearly as visible the problems that we have in the morning with no parking. We would implore you to consider other options. And the reason is we would really like the disparity in services to residents be brought up to par. And by that, I mean that the residents on Mobec have parking permits. They have garages, driveways, and yet they get a parking permit. This plan here is not going to avoid students parking on Fernwood. We don't know when the moratorium was put in place. We asked that as far as reviewing a better plan. I don't know if that has been lifted. You know, one of the items that was brought up for us to go to a city council meeting, you know, to further implore our necessity to eliminate the restrictions on Mobec. So even this, it's really not going to be a good plan for our residents. It's very limited. We're still going to have the same problems that we have now. We don't understand why our residents would not be able to get parking permits just like the residents do. And they have availability of probably 7 parking spaces. There are 3-car garages, 3 cars on the driveway, and they get parking permit on Mobec, yet we're denied that. Clearly not fair. We need the necessity, much more than they do, and they get that benefit of having a parking permit. So we're asking for the disparity to really be reviewed and for a better plan. You know, be brainstormed.
recommendation, was it to ease the restriction only on the east side of Fernwood and Mobec, or was it both sides of the street?
Just the east side, excuse me, along Fernwood.
Because Thursday is trash day. So it would be great if you ease the restriction on this side so that people have a place to park on trash day and make sure that trash pickup on these 2 sides are different days.
So we are, the trash day we're not necessarily looking at, but street sweeping, we are looking at updating that. That'll be going to a
That's
soon
what I
council.
meant. I
Yeah,
meant
okay,
street
yes,
sweeping.
that one is going to a council meeting here shortly. We are looking at potentially making changes to that. Yeah.
Okay. The other one item I wanted to bring up was that when our residents are parked on Mobec, they have no option to actually exit to Azusa other than getting stuck in the flow of traffic to the school. So one resident, it took her 30 minutes to get to Azusa because they have no option. On the side of the street that we are parking, they are forced. They can't make a U-turn. The school puts cones there. They can't turn around. They are forced to get stuck in all that student traffic that of individuals that are dropping off their kids at their school. They have no choice. If we were to be able to park on the other side of the street, they would just be able to head out to Azusa and avoid that. There's so much congestion, and a lot of the details that we discussed on December 16th, we just don't see them in the final evaluation or the final recommendations. We also asked for consideration of the cul-de-sac. Why is there restrictions even all the way at the cul-de-sac? No parent should be driving to the cul-de-sac to drop off kids. All of the school's entrances are before that. The other comment that we made was that the school has 4 entrances. Even their drive-through, they block it off in the morning. There's only one individual out there doing traffic control that does not alleviate the jams, the congestion. So there were other things that we brought up when we met on December the 16th that we would hope would still be considered.
Yeah, in terms, excuse me, in terms of the cul-de-sac, that is being altered. It's not fully removed. So that's going to be recommendation 1, which is for the no parking from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then 3 to 4, which is just during that school drop-off and pickup timeline. Anytime outside of that, you will be able to park in the cul-de-sac on the northern side it showed on the screen, just outside, anytime outside of those times.
And how will we avoid students utilizing that parking?
It would be open parking to anyone.
So that's unfair again. If you consider Mobec again, those residents there don't have those restrictions. Why can't we have the same city service that that homeowners do?
Is there a restriction or a moratorium on issuing parking permits? That we were told that at that meeting, that sidewalk meeting.
Any changes, yes, there is a moratorium currently on that.
Okay, and there's a reason why that can't be lifted?
We are looking to update it holistically throughout the city. Right now, we're anticipating rolling out the street sweeping fully and then taking a look at the permit parking.
Fair enough.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your time.
That was the only speaker slip we had on this item, so I'll turn to our committee members to see if they have any questions or comments.
I personally visited the site with the TransTech staff. I agree with the residents there. They do have some concerns. So there are a total of 5 recommendations. And from what I observed and from, the restrictions we're given, I think that, we should try this out, test it out. Trimming the vegetation, which is one of the concerns that was mentioned, is one of the recommendations. Removing the signage and posting, let's see how it goes. We are looking at some changes in the street sweeping. I understand that that's going to be a concern, but we haven't finalized the scheduling for that. And so I think that may alleviate some of the concerns. And I believe from our conversation, there was a new entrance to the school that's opening up on Cameron.
Right.
And I think that is happening in March. In April? Okay, so if that's happening in April, from our conversations with the school staff at a previous meeting we had at the same intersection, we felt as though that would also alleviate some of the parking and the traffic issues there. I personally don't have any questions. I don't know if other...
I don't have any questions. I hear the residents, and obviously parking is the issue. Parking is a problem everywhere. Every street seems to be more impacted, population is increasing, all those factors. I'm just not sure that changing the no parking and the times, I feel like that'll still cause issues as well. I feel like it's hard to monitor or enforce 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. I mean, especially during those times when there's so much traffic and it's so congested from drop-off. So, not obviously trimming the vegetation, that's something we should do right away and we can handle and address. But on all the recommendations, I'm not sure we're accomplishing what needs to be done for the apartments and drop-off.
In terms of the moratorium on the parking permits, that's something that would have to be taken up at city council level, and we would have to do a holistic approach to that. It wouldn't just be specific to your concerns.
I don't know how critical that is, because I think that would only benefit, I think it would only prevent students from parking there, but they already have a huge parking lot, so I don't know that them parking there would be, I don't know how necessary the permits would be. It was just an option. I think we're just baffled why the people on the south side have parking permits when they have abundant off-street parking.
Sure.
One other tidbit, I've got lots of tradesmen coming and going to the property during the day. We have delivery people, pizza delivery, DoorDash, and, what, they can't park there, or they have to risk it, getting a ticket, so that's another thought.
Yeah, I appreciate the residents' concerns. From the recommendations that have been provided here, I think we should start off with that and see how that could alleviate some of the concerns. And then, of course, in April, we can do a deeper dive into how much of a benefit the additional lot would help that area. So for the time being, I would approve the recommendations here.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second, so I'll do a quick roll call. Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Approve?
Art Cervantes, Community Development Director. Deputy Director, sorry. Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Approved.
And Mike Creasap, Public Works Superintendent.
Approved.
So this item is approved 4-0. So next step in the process, it'll go to a future council meeting for their final approval. And as was mentioned, this isn't the end of this. We'll continue to monitor it, especially once the new parking lot is open. And we appreciate you attending tonight. Thank you.
The TransTech staff has been fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, Nicole was, yeah. Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you so much for
Thanks a
your
lot.
time.
Thank you. So we do have a speaker tonight on item 4E, so if it's okay with the commission, I'd like to move it up to the next item to be heard, so we're not keeping her waiting, so
Yes.
if that's okay. So I'll do a quick introduction and, so our next item, as I mentioned, is a traffic review of Amar Road and Paseo Merida. Sorry, I didn't mean to butcher that. The city has received a traffic request to review the existing conditions at the intersection of Amar Road and Paseo Merida. It was reported that there's a blind curve at the intersection. The resident expressed concern for vehicles turning left from Amar. According to the resident, there's been multiple vehicular collisions at the intersection. The resident explained that the overgrown vegetation along the median obstructs the view of oncoming traffic, and that combined with a high speed of approaching vehicles makes it difficult for drivers to turn left. After a thorough review of existing field and traffic conditions and per the guidelines in the California Manual and Uniform Traffic Control Devices, California Vehicle Code, West Covina City Guidelines, and based on engineering judgment, a list of options will be presented to the Traffic Committee for review and direction. It's recommended that the Traffic Committee review the report with the city traffic engineer, listen to any public comment, and provide direction. And then just for transparency, the fiscal impact for the recommended improvements is estimated at $7,000. So at this time, we'll have a presentation by Brian Cervantes again with TransTech.
Thank you, Michael. So the existing conditions at this intersection is Amar Road's a 50-mile-per-hour posted speed limit, whereas Paseo Merida is 15-mile-per-hour prima facie. Amar Road is classified by the Caltrans road classification map as an other principal arterial road, whereas Paseo Merida is considered a local road. It's actually a driveway exit to a parking lot as well as to the multifamily housing on the south side of the road. Amar Road is 90 feet wide and Paseo Merida is 50 feet wide. Amar Road, it has three 11-foot lanes of travel in each direction, a 5-foot bike lane, and a 14-foot landscape median. And Paseo Merida has one 20-foot lane of travel in each direction and a 10-foot landscape median. As well, there is no parking allowed on either street. As part of this review, we looked at the collision history from Switters over approximately a 4-year period between January of 2022 through December of 2025 and found that there was 8 collisions reported at this intersection. Additionally, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Wednesday, January 7th of 2026. So one thing to note for this location is staff are currently working on a speed limit reduction along Amar Road as part of the 2025 speed survey update. As part of this update, it's recommended to lower the speed limit from 50 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour along Amar Road at this location. However, this is still pending council approval and adoption before any change is made. As well, the original request we received was for the installation of a keep clear pavement marking at the intersection. However, typically those pavement markings are utilized where there's 2 roads where there might be a buildup from a busy location where it blocks driveways. With the collisions we noted, it's mainly speed-based, not necessarily from backing up at Nogales leading all the way back causing the collision. So in the case of this intersection, and that was also reported to us as well, so due to that, it's not expected that the keep clear pavement markings will have a significant effect on reducing high speeds or reducing crashes related to vehicles turning left at this location. Therefore, that measure is not one of our recommendations. And now, based on engineering judgment, warrants found in the CAM UTCD as well as the CVC, it was concluded that the intersection of Amar Road and Paseo Merida would benefit from the following improvements, which is the installation of a new stop sign and traffic does not stop plaque on a new pole for the northbound direction of Paseo Merida at the intersection with Amar Road. The second recommendation is to install a T intersection warning sign on the south side of Amar Road, approximately 210 feet west of Paseo Merida. The third recommendation is to remove and replace and relocate the existing faded signal head sign that is currently located on the south side of Amar Road. The recommendation is to replace this approximately 470 feet west of Nogales Street. Excuse me. The fourth recommendation is to install a new signal head sign on a new pole for eastbound traffic along Amar Road on the raised median. And then the fifth, as part of our complaint, portion of the complaint was due to landscaping being overgrown. So our fifth recommendation is to maintain a regular trimming schedule along Amar Road, especially along the center medians, to prevent any obstructions of line of sight of incoming traffic.
Thank you, Brian. We do have a speaker, so I'll go ahead and ask that Commissioner Kablayan,
Yes.
please approach the podium.
Good evening. Thank you for listening to the request. So in regard to this intersection, when the pictures, it looks like the pictures don't reflect the rush hour period, which is normally 7 to 2 in the AM, with the college students, that being Cal Poly and Mount Sac, coming through there. So it's large, high traffic. And then in the evenings, like from 2 to like 7 or 8. So this doesn't necessarily reflect that, these pictures. But I've been there 37 years. And the left turn, the issue is primarily, and that's initially what I put in my email, is that there's a blind spot. There's 3 lanes, as stated. There's 3 lanes. So the first 2 lanes, the left turn person can see the first 2 lanes. And so normally they give space for the person to turn left. The third lane is a right turn only lane. So they don't have to adhere to the same thing as the first 2 lanes because they're doing California rolls. Everybody's not stopping full stops, and they're doing California rolls. So that's where the problem comes in, because you can't see past the first 2 lanes that are there, even if they stop for you. It's a long street, and it is blocked. And if you're going north on Paseo Marita during those high traffic times, you usually have to wait till 2 lights, possibly 3 lights, in order just to make a right. You can't make a left. In order to make a right, that's how high the traffic is. So the left turn person coming in, they might get past those 2 lanes, but that third lane doesn't see them, and they don't see them, and that's where it is. And the report does reflect those 8 collisions within those 4 years. 5 out of the 8 reflects that, what I'm telling you guys. So, and that was just 4 years. 8 in 4 years is a lot of accidents. But, and so in regard to the suggestions, I do think that the foliage being maintained is a big deal, because that center, especially since the rain during these holidays, it grows. We put, the city put a nice post there. The post is nice, but all the foliage you cannot see, can't even see the first 2 lanes. You have to kind of peek out, which is also a hazard. And then, so that sounds good. The sign on Paseo Marita, the stop sign, probably wouldn't be necessary because you have to stop anyway. I mean, it'll be good just to have something new, but it's not necessary. It might be a waste of money because you have to stop anyway. You can't get onto the street. And then in regard to the T and the other sign, the trees are so overgrown. I mean, it's nice trees along the drive, but you can't even see the sign that says Paseo Marita. So I'm not sure if you could see, unless you do maintain the, it takes a lot, it costs a lot to cut those trees, to prune those trees. But you have to prune those trees in order to see that signage. I do agree with the sign ahead, to redo that, because where it is, you can see the sign. I mean, you're like less than a half a block and you see the lights. So that being moved would be okay. But I really think in order for even the speed is good because everybody speeds there. There are lots of accidents because of that. But because that right lane is a right turn only, it's just going. They don't have to stop. They don't have to slow down. They're just going. Even the people at Nogales and Amar, if you're trying to walk across the street, you literally have to stop, eyeball the person who is driving, and make sure that they stop in order to cross the street. So that lane is really an issue. That's the issue. But I just think, and this has been years, we've taken it to our HOA, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just try this. But it would be beneficial. It really would be beneficial and there's also stores, storefronts, there are restaurants and stuff there. So it's not just the residents, like he said, but there are other people who are going in and out of there. And I just think a keep clear, because they normally, the first two lanes normally try to keep it clear anyway, but a keep clear would be beneficial for that area. That's my take on it. And I've been, like I said, I've been there half my life, so.
from the accidents that you've observed,
Mhm.
the common denominator is the third lane that's making the right turn while the cars are going straight.
Yes.
And because of the California stop?
Yeah, well, because they don't, just
Yeah.
because they don't have to really stop.
Uh-huh.
The first two lanes have to stop for the lights, for the stop, red light, whatever, green light. The right lane goes, and they really just California roll through there.
Okay.
And it's easy, I mean, it's easy to do, but, yeah. So they don't really stop. That's the lane closest to the curb, on the south, closest south to the curb.
And you're suggesting another signage at the top?
I'm suggesting a keep clear right where the left turn inset is and the street of Paseo Merida.
Right, so what she's suggesting here is some additional signage and pavement markings. You may have seen it yourself when you're driving at driveways. Oftentimes we see them where because of traffic issues backing up at a traffic signal, a driveway gets blocked. So what often happens is we put down the traffic markings that say keep clear and then post a sign. It's a regulatory sign, so it is enforceable that they cannot block the intersection or driveway. So that's what she's requesting. We did look at it. It's not part of our recommendations, but it's certainly part of your consideration. And obviously, we would modify recommendations as directed.
Being down at the location, I went out and looked at it myself when the official request came in to look at the vegetation, the trees and things of that nature, make sure we address those issues right away, and we started on that right away. But I think the keep clear is a great suggestion. The right turn, I looked more at the left turn and coming across traffic and was looking at view from the monument looking down.
Yes.
And the hillside, so I was taking it from that angle. I didn't the right turn, I didn't take the right turn into consideration as much, but I think the keep clear is a great idea. So I'm willing to make a motion to approve these recommendations and add the keep clear if everybody's in agreement.
And based on the recommendations you see here, the 5 recommendations you see here, along with the keep clear, you believe that would suffice in?
I would believe that would suffice.
Okay. I would second that.
If there's no further comments or questions, I'll go through a roll call. Okay. So first up, Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Approve?
Art Cervantes, Community Development Deputy Director.
Approve.
Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Approve.
And then Mike Creasap, Public Works Superintendent.
Approve.
So this item is approved 4-0 as amended with the keep clear, and it'll go to council for final approval in a future meeting.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you listening.
All right, we'll get back to our regular schedule, item 4B. This item is a traffic review of Heritage Drive between Hillside Drive and East Hills Drive. The city has received a traffic request to review the existing conditions along Heritage between Hillside and East Hills. The resident reported that drivers do not follow the 15-mile-per-hour advisory signage along the curves. Additionally, the resident explained that this segment of Heritage Drive does not have sidewalks and expressed concern for pedestrians in the area. After a thorough review of existing field and traffic conditions and per the guidelines in the CAMUTCD, as well as California Vehicle Code, West Covina City Guidelines, and based on engineering judgment, a list of options will be presented to the Traffic Committee for review and direction. It's recommended that the Traffic Committee review the report with the city traffic engineer, listen to any public comment, and provide direction. And then finally, the fiscal impact for the recommendations will be presented is estimated at $52,000. So we'll again have a presentation by Brian with TransTech.
Thank you, Michael. So the existing conditions along this location, the speed limit is 25 mile per hour prima facie. However, there are 15 mile per hour advisory speed limits along the curves which are posted. The street classification from the Caltrans road classification system map is a local road. The segment that was reviewed is a little under 1,800 feet. This segment is 32 feet wide with one 16-foot lane of travel in each direction with no marked center line, and parking is allowed along both sides of the segment. And as part of this review, we did look at the collision data from Switters as well as the California Crash Record System, or CCRS, over approximately a 4-year period between January of 2022 through December of 2026, and found that there was 0 collisions reported along this segment. And additionally, since this request was involving speed-related concerns, we took both average daily traffic, or ADT counts, and did a 24-hour speed survey along the segment. So for the average daily traffic, that was taken on Tuesday, August 19th of 2025. And in the northbound direction, there was 156 vehicles per day, 126 vehicles per day in the southbound direction, for a total along the segment of 282 vehicles per day. And as I said before, we also did a 24-hour speed survey, which was taken on Tuesday, August 19th of 2025. From this 24-hour speed survey, it was found that the 85th percentile speed was 33 miles per hour, which the speed limit is a 25 mile per hour prima facie speed limit with a 15 mile per hour advisory sign, advisory as well. Additionally, as part of this review, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Tuesday, December 2nd of 2025. Now, based on engineering judgment and warrants found in the CAM, UTCD, as well as the CBC, it was determined that the segment would benefit from updates in signage and the installation of additional traffic calming measures. So the recommendations are to install a solid double yellow center line along Heritage Drive between Hillside Drive and East Hills Drive. The second recommendation is to remove and replace deteriorated curve warning sign, or W1-1, and 15 mile per hour advisory speed signs, or W13-1P, along the existing locations along the segment. So there's 4 locations that we would be recommending updating those signs. The third recommendation is to remove and replace faded stop signs that are located along the segment, and there's 2 that we recommend updating along the segment. And then the fourth is to maintain a regular trimming cycle along the south side of Heritage Drive, just to prevent any future overgrown vegetation that may block view along the curves for oncoming traffic.
Brian, we don't have any speaker slips. Before we move to committee comments and questions, one thought that I had that would be a simple addition is we probably should speak to police for enforcement, just given that the speed measured is significantly higher, not only of the posted speed, but the advisory. So I think some periodic enforcement, in addition to the recommendations, would be beneficial in this case, obviously, when they have the ability to get out there. So with that caveat, please, if there's any additional comments or questions from the committee members.
I think, yeah, enforcement would be a great added value to this list of recommendations, and I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, an enforcement or a decoy, cop decoy car that'll kind of could stand out there, would be helpful.
The solid double yellow lines, it doesn't go through, right? It seems like on the pictures. It's only at certain points.
No, it would be along the length of the segment. The double yellow center line?
Yeah, but currently it doesn't go.
Currently, there's nothing. So there's no center line. Or correct. I'm seeing what you're seeing now. So the one you're seeing in the photos, typically that's just for a couple feet when you immediately enter onto the roadway. It's not through the entire segment, to your point, correct?
Got it, okay, so it would be new. Now I'm for these recommendations. Okay, I can motion it.
Okay, we have a motion by Robert. Do I have a second?
Second?
All right, thank you. I'll do a quick roll call. Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Approve?
Art Cervantes, Community Development Deputy Director.
Approve?
Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Approve?
And then Mike Cresap, Public Works Superintendent.
Approve.
All right, thank you. This is approved with the addition of enforcement, approved 4-0. Next is item 4C, a traffic review of South Broadmoor Avenue and West Ituni Street. The city has received a traffic request to review the existing conditions at the intersection of Broadmoor and Ituni. It was reported that vehicles park along the west side of South Broadmoor Avenue, close to the intersection. The resident explained that the issue is aggravated by the alignment of South Broadmoor Avenue. After a thorough review of existing field and traffic conditions and per the guidelines in the CAMU TCD, California Vehicle Code, West Covina City Guidelines, and based on engineering judgment, a list of options will be presented to the Traffic Committee for review and direction. It's recommended that the Traffic Committee review the report with the city traffic engineer, listen to any public comment, and provide direction. And finally, the fiscal impact for the recommendations we're about to hear is estimated at $5,000. And so we'll have another presentation by Brian with Transtat.
Thank you, Michael. The existing conditions along this intersection, both West Ituni Street as well as South Broadmoor Avenue, are 25-mile-per-hour speed limit roads. Both are classified by the Caltrans road classification system as local roads. There is parking allowed along both sides of both streets, except for during street sweeping days. And there is no existing red curb at this location. And to what the resident said about the alignment, the street width along West Ituni Street is 40 feet. And for South Broadmoor Street on the north leg, it's only 32 feet, whereas on the south leg, it's 40 feet at the intersection. So West Ituni Street has one 20-foot lane of travel in each direction, whereas South Broadmoor Avenue has one 16-foot lane in each direction on the north leg, and 20 feet on for each lane of travel on the south leg. Additionally, we did do a review of Switters as well as the CCRS over approximately 3 3/4 year period between January of 2022 through November of 2025 and found that there was no collisions reported at this location. Additionally, site photos were taken as well as a field visit was completed on December 2nd of 2025 for this location. Now, based on engineering judgment, as well as the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD, as well as the CBC, the recommendations for the intersection of South Broadmoor Avenue and West Ituni Street are the following 6 recommendations. To remove and replace the existing faded stop sign along the eastbound direction of West Ituni Street. Install a cross-traffic does not stop sign or W4-4P sign underneath the existing stop sign. Adjust and angle the stop bar pavement legends approximately 12 feet forward to allow vehicles to stop closer to the intersection and to angle the east end of the stop bar to connect with the ADA curb ramp to allow for a clear path of travel between the east and north corners of the intersection. Relocate the existing stop bar pavement legend along the eastbound direction of West Ituni Street and South Broadmoor Avenue to be closer to the intersection. And so that's going to be for the actual stop pavement legend. The 5th recommendation is to install 25 feet of double yellow center line on the west leg of the intersection, starting from the stop bar. And the 6th is to install 20 feet of red curb approaching West Ituni Street and South Broadmoor Avenue to be compliant with AB 413 or the daylighting law. So that's going to be recommended to be installed at 3 locations at the intersection as shown, which is going to be the north portion, and then the 2 corners along the west, essentially the west corner of the intersection.
Thank you, Brian. We don't have any speaker slips on this item. Are there any questions or comments from our committee members?
So this just seems like it's a line of sight issue.
Essentially, yes. Just with the alignment of the roads, with the southern portion being wider, it's an alignment and line of sight item.
I don't have any questions.
If there are none, I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I'll motion it.
All right, thank you, Robert.
Second.
We have a second by Mike. We'll do a quick roll call. Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Approve.
Art Cervantes, Community Development Deputy Director.
Approve.
Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Approve.
And Mike Creasap, Public Works Superintendent.
Approve.
So this item is approved 4-0 and will go to a future council meeting for final approval. Our last item, 4D, is a traffic review of 1842 East Workman Avenue. The city has received a traffic request to review the existing parking conditions along the frontage of their residence located on East Workman Avenue. The resident is requesting the installation of blue curb in front of the senior living located at 1842 East Workman Avenue. After a thorough review of existing field and traffic conditions and per the guidelines in the CAMU-TCD, California Vehicle Code, West Covina City Guidelines, and based on engineering judgment, a list of options will be presented to the Traffic Committee for review and direction. It's recommended that the Traffic Committee review the report with the city traffic engineer, listen to public comment, if any, and provide direction. And then finally, the fiscal impact for the recommendations we're about to hear is estimated at $5,000. So once again, we'll have a brief presentation by Brian with TransTech.
Thank you, Michael. The posted speed limit along East Workman Avenue is 25 miles per hour, and this is within a school zone with Workman Avenue, or Workman Elementary School being slightly to the east on the north side of the segment. East Workman Avenue at this location is classified by the Caltrans Road Classification Map as a major collector road and is 40 feet wide with one 20-foot lane of travel in each direction, separated by a yellow dashed center line. There is currently approximately 175 feet of red curb in front of the requesting address. However, street parking is allowed on the segment except for where red curb is located or during street sweeping days or street sweeping times and days for restrictions. We did go out and do a field visit on Wednesday, January 7th of 2025, just to observe the existing conditions around the site, including parking. And so now this one, since it was a request for blue curb, we additionally did a kind of dive into West Covina's municipal code as well as the California Vehicle Code in terms of what blue curb would mean or indicate. So with that being said, the resident originally requested blue curb. However, while installing blue curb or accessible parking would provide additional parking, this improvement does not guarantee that the parking space would be available at any time. So the resident, when they were requesting, said it was for drop off and pick up or their caretaker to drop off and pick them up. However, if we recommended blue curb, anyone with an ADA placard can then park there any amount of time. So it doesn't quite solve the issue that was presented to us by the resident. Additionally, we did look at installation of green curb or temporary parking, which is a shorter time frame amount of parking. However, in the case of green curb, any driver with a handicap plaque is allowed to park along green curb for unlimited amount of time, which again wouldn't quite solve the residents' concerns. So the next improvement that we looked at was the installation of white curb and or yellow curb. So white curb per the California Vehicle Code denotes parking reserved for loading or unloading of passengers for the time as may be specified by local ordinance. And similarly, yellow curb indicates stopping only for the purpose of loading or unloading passengers or freight for the time as may be specified by local ordinance. So based on this review we completed, as well as engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines for curb markings and parking, as well as guidelines found in the CAMU-TCD and CVC, it was concluded that the frontage of 1842 East Workman Avenue would benefit from the following two recommendations, which is to remove and replace red curb on the west side of the driveway exit located at 1842 East Workman Avenue. So to leave 10 feet of red curb from the driveway exit east, and then remove and replace 30 feet of red curb for yellow curb between the bus pad and the 10 feet of red curb. And to install a passenger loading only 15-minute sign along this portion. That way, if there's people with caretakers, they're able to come, unload, load, and then keep that spot open for other residents of the complex who may need the same assistance.
Thank you, Brian. Before I move to committee member comments and questions, I did have a quick question, Brian. So in your summary, you stated that the time limit restriction is based upon city ordinance. Do we know or have we confirmed that we've got something on the books from a code perspective that establishes what those limits are?
I haven't looked personally. I do know we have these markings throughout the city. However, I'd be happy to verify that.
Yeah, if we could just confirm, just so that we're not taking something to council without doing all the due diligence. I'd appreciate that.
Of course, and one more note for the committee members is I did note in here that there's a bus pad there. However, that bus route is no longer in service, which is why this recommendation has now come. Previously, when the bus route was in service, it was red curb for the bus to be able to pull over and pick up passengers. However, since it's no longer in service, we're now looking to open it up to be used as the drop-off and pickup for the residents.
That's a great piece of information. Thank you.
And just to confirm, the disabled placard does not allow
anyone with that placard to park here for more than the 15 minutes, correct?
From our review, correct.
Good question.
But just for clarification, okay, I think I'm a little confused. That placard is not just solely for ADA, right? That's just anyone who's loading and unloading at that point.
Correct. The recommendation is just general unloading, loading, correct.
Because you also have a apartment complex across the street.
Correct. On the north
So they
side?
can-
Yes. Yeah, and then an adjacent apartment complex directly to the west as well.
The 140 feet of red curb that's there now, that stays, correct?
Correct. So it'll be, if you're looking at the driveway of the, or you're leaving the driveway, let's say, it'll be 10 feet of red curb, which will be for line of sight, and then we'll be installing 30 feet of, or recommending 30 feet of yellow curb, which will act as the area where any residents of that senior care facility could be drop off and pick up by caretakers, shuttles, or other methods of travel they may use, or for drop off and pick up if that opportunity comes up.
One other, if I may, if we could look at, rather than 30, we might want to look at 40 feet if that doesn't interfere with the red curb, only because 30 feet really only affords one vehicle to load and unload, and so there's the off chance that a second vehicle may pull in behind and technically be in the red curb. So it might be beneficial if there's no conflict with the red curb to go ahead and extend it just a little bit so that we could potentially have two vehicles loading at the same time.
Correct. There's no conflict with the existing red curb there, so we can make that change if the committee chooses to make
Yes,
that
if
amendment.
the committee agrees and amends, so.
I do agree with that.
Just a quick question. It doesn't appear to be an entry point along Workman Avenue to this senior facility. It looks like their entry point is actually on site, maybe, 100 feet from the street. Were they requesting the blue? Are they going to be okay with the yellow? Is that, something that they're comfortable with, or were they requesting the blue as supplemental ADA parking? Because it looks like they do have some limited ADA parking in the front. Or maybe they don't.
So the exact request we received was for drop off and pickup. It was a resident who had a caretaker. However, when the caretaker comes to pick them up, there's only red curb in the front, and the on-site parking's impacted, so they have nowhere to be picked up really. So the caretaker in that case would have to essentially pull over the red curb and risk it, so to speak. So this is purely a measure of providing an area for the residents to be picked up, dropped off, if something's being dropped off for them, or more short-term visits rather than not alleviating parking, to your point of opening up additional spots.
And would 15 minutes, and again, I think it would come down to the requester, would 15 minutes suffice? Because, again, it's at least 100 feet to the entry point from where they're at. There's a gate in between. So assume 5-minute walk maybe, back and forth, that's 10 minutes. I don't know if the yellow is what they intended, or if they intended the blue, again, because they can have that longer term parking. So as long as the requester's okay with the yellow, and, that we verify that they're okay with it, we would support it.
So we did notify the requester of this. We haven't received any feedback from them on it. However, in terms of the blue, as previously stated, the concern with installing blue curb is even if we do put those two blue curb spots, two cars can go and park there, and we're
All day
essentially in the same boat because there's not a time limit restricted on it. So all we would be doing then is just opening those two spots, and it also wouldn't necessarily service the senior facility on the south side of the street. It could be open for anyone with an ADA placard. So by opening those up on the street, it's not even really possibly guaranteeing that we're solving it. Whereas our recommendation for the short-term parking restriction is just to allow for drop-off pickups and things of that nature for the senior facility, as well as any of the other housing developments around the site.
Michael, you brought up a good point, but is there a limit to how much yellow, because there is no parking at the yellow curb, you're limited to 15 minutes, but is there a limit to how much yellow curb you could put? Reason being, obviously, the bus shelter there is no longer in service, the bus line's been canceled, the city seems to be leaning, is progressing and moving towards a on-demand service. So there's more Uber Eats, those things. is it beneficial to even go longer than 40 feet? Like, do we want to consider maybe 3 cars? Is there a reason not to?
We could certainly look at that under a recommendation to look at the viability of 3 vehicle lengths. And if we can't find anything in state code that prohibits it, we can certainly take that recommendation to council. If we do in fact find something where there's limitations on that length, which I'm not aware of, but we'll double check, then obviously what we would take to council is what state code allows for in terms of length, if that's okay with the committee members.
I mean, just for discussion, I'm wondering, thinking ahead, it's probably not likely that there's gonna be 5 Ubers show up at the same time, but maybe they are going to the same place. Maybe, those things that we should look at. So if it benefits us to get ahead of the game and do as much yellow curb as we can, that's something that I would recommend, maybe.
Makes sense.
The concern there would be that it looks like both sides of the street are a red curb, potentially to prevent people from parking and walking their children across the street and creating a new hazard. So that would be, I would wonder, I'm wondering what the history is of why it's red curbed. My assumption is because of the elementary school.
Correct. So the existing red curb is there from elementary school drop-off pickup. We've previously done a review of the location due to concerns over the drop-off and pickup. And Workman does get very busy during those times, which is why the red curb restriction's there. One item to note on this, as you can see on the screen, is Workman Avenue, just slightly east of this location, does essentially choke down to a more narrow lane as it approaches the school. So we would still be able to allow parking while allowing school, essentially drop off and pick up. And with the 15-minute restriction of timeline, if we were to extend the timeline, it's possible it could be used for parents to kind of park there and then walk their children to school, which to some extent defeats the purpose, because there's the pro and con of, yes, it might take a while to get on site, but we might be opening the door to allowing it to be used where it wasn't intended to be used. So just something for the committee to keep in mind.
So possibly we could just, if the committee's okay, go ahead and make a recommendation to council for the 15 minutes and monitor it. And if it's just not working for the residents,
Yeah,
we'll
that's a good-
revisit to extend it with the understanding that we might be opening it up to school traffic on
That's a
top
good
of
point.
that.
And maybe we can establish a timeframe, a 1-year review of it.
Sure.
And then bring it back at a year. Because, I could see us creating a new situation where parents are parking, they're crossing the street, they may be impacting residents in this neighborhood, or, they're also crossing a busy street.
Right.
Yeah, so we have a 1-year, like a testing period, come back and, I think that makes sense.
I don't have any questions, and I would approve.
So can I have so it sounds like we have a potential motion as amended.
Do you want to add a requirement that it come back in a year? Or are you comfortable with the way it's written?
I think if the resident would have concerns, they would reach out to us, and
Okay.
we could look into it at that time.
Yeah.
Quick question, probably a stupid question, just out of curiosity. It's a 15-minute time frame. Is there signage that allow for like 25 minutes?
I would have to
20
confirm,
minutes.
but again, I think it comes back to what we have from a code perspective, and we'll need to follow that. So that'll be part of our due diligence, just to make sure we're good on the code side, and then obviously, if we have some wiggle room, then in the future, we could bump it up to whether that's 20, 25, 30, whatever, again, our code allows for.
I agree with Neil about, bringing it back. It does sound good, but that is work. It seems to me if there is an issue, the residents do that. You brought up a very valid point about the school. I was looking at the senior home, you're looking at school, very valid point. But I make a motion to extend the yellow curb to 40 feet so you can get 2 cars in and then approve the 2 recommendations here. So that's my motion.
Okay. So I have a motion as amended. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. I'll do a quick roll call. Neil Mehta, Assistant City Manager.
Approve?
Art Cervantes, Community Development Deputy Director.
Approve?
Robert Ortega, CIP Manager.
Approved?
and Mike Cruzat, Public Works Superintendent.
Approved.
All right, this item is approved as amended and will go to a future council meeting for final action. That concludes our new business tonight. I don't have any public speaker comment sheets for any items not on the agenda. I do want to acknowledge we have Councilmember Contos in the audience. Did the council member have any comments or questions for the committee tonight?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Moving on, comments and concerns from committee members. Are there any for this evening?
Nope. No comment.
If not, I'll go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting and announce that our next regular meeting will be Wednesday, February 18th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.